We're gonna go over January market stats. So we're here. I'm here. First of all, I'm here in Temecula. Big shout out to the Temecula crew and the agents that came down. Agnes and Miriam and a couple other agents that came down. David from different offices. We had a great Mega Monday here in Temecula. So a lot of fun, a lot of really cool things. So want to share a quick story with you. Then we'll get into our stats. One of our agents here, Nikki, was, when I go to the office, I pace, right? I go around. I'm always on the phone, but I'm pacing around and I happen to walk by her desk and she was on the computer looking for something. And I said, well, what are you looking for? And she's like, I'm looking, how do I get for sale by owners? And I said, oh, go to Zillow and you can search up for sale by owners. So she goes to Zillow and she finds a property and she finds a for sale by owner and it's got the for sale by owner information. And I'm just standing there and she looks at me and she's like, are you going to stand there until I dial the number? And I said, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So to her credit, she gets her phone and she dials the number. And I said, now, do you want me to listen or what do you want me to do? She goes, do a lap. And I was like, okay, as soon as you hit dial or send, I will go do a lap. So she dials the number, she looks at me, she hits send, and she calls, and I do my lap. And then by the time I got back around, she was leaving a voicemail. So she left a voicemail, but the fact that she did it was just awesome and just dialed in and went about her way. So huge shout out, huge credit to her. And just a reminder for all of us that, and she lived. She lived. I mean, she's still here, still breathing. I mean, it's wild. So it's just a reminder for all of us that it's just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Just do the activity. Okay. Even if, I mean, in her case, it was just a voicemail, but it was still just fantastic to see it get done. All right. So let's jump into the market stats for January. Give us an idea of what's going on in the marketplace. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So I am in the MLS and let's go look at some stuff here. All right. So the first thing I want to look at, I do this every month. So some of you, this is not going to be new in terms of some of the stuff I'm going to look up. But I want to go to expireds and I want to look up expireds from January and canceleds from January. Okay, so let's do this. So let's have a little bit of fun here. How many cancels and expireds do you think were in our MLS in January? Anybody, you can either put your guesses in the chat box or unmute yourself. Let's play. Oh, you know what? I apologize if you all have been trying to talk to me. My volume's been down. All right, my volume's up because I'm sure you all were talking to me and sharing all kinds of wonderful, cool, great news. And so I apologize that I missed all of it. All right, so so nine is so how many expired and canceled in our MLS in January? You can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. I see 90. Okay. Anybody else want to take some guesses here in terms of how many expired and canceled just in January, just in our MLS? 75. Rochelle says 3,000. Okay, 90 expired. So 165 total for Miguel, 3,000. Okay. Anybody else want to take a guess on how many expireds and canceled were in our MLS just in January? You can either put it in the chat box or unmute yourself. All right. So let's see what the answer is. The answer is 3,442. So way to go, Rochelle. Woo! Closest to the whole page for dinner. All right, good job. golf terminology. Good work, good work. So 3,442 expireds and canceleds just in RMLS, just in January. Now, why do you think I looked that up? Why is that important? Where could that be used?
When talking to a seller about pricing.
Talking to a seller about pricing. That's right. Are there some sellers that believe they can price their home at whatever they want? Yes, there are some sellers that believe they can price their home at whatever they want and they can get it sold and all those other wonderful things. And I wish that were true. But the reality is now you can go to a seller and say the seller wants 775. Okay, you think the house should be listed at 740. You can now go to the seller and say, look at Mr. Seller, I understand you want 775, but here's my concern. Last month, 3,442 homes expired and canceled. Do you know what that means? No. It means that 3,442 homes were listed for sale and they didn't sell before the contract expired. So as much as I wish I could say we could price it at whatever you want, it'll sell. I got 3,442 examples that that's not the case. Okay. So you can use this when talking to a seller about the importance of pricing it correctly. Okay, now here's the other thing that I tend to look at when I come to this particular page. Let me expand this out to 100. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here to BAC. What does BAC stand for?
Buyer commission.
Buyer's commission, right? Buyer's agent's commission. Now, you'll notice part of the lawsuit rules, you're not allowed to filter by buyer's agent's commissions anymore because they don't want real estate agents to base their showings on what the buyer agent commission is. Okay, which makes sense. So you can't do that. However, let's just kind of quickly pay attention to this right here, this BAC column. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, pay attention to this column. Okay. Now, as I'm scrolling down here, does anything stand out that's fairly interesting about some of the numbers in this column? Anything stand out when you look at those numbers?
Yeah, they're very consistent.
They're very consistent and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the percentages, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, $300, what are you going to do? 2.5, 3%, 2.5, a couple other 300s. I'll bet those are probably maybe new builds or something along those lines because usually that's a lot of $300. So it must be like a certain building or something. 2.5, 3%, 2.5, 3. I mean, these are really good buyer's agents commissions. I mean, would you be excited if you were representing a buyer and you got 2.5%? Be happy about that, right? I mean, if you got 3%, boy, you'd be pushing your buyer like crazy. This is the house. There's no toilets. Who needs toilets?
You'd be a terrible agent, Robert.
I got 3% commission on the line. Oh yeah, just me. So here's my point. This goes over to the old price object, or not price objection, price reduction script. Is when you go through the price reduction script that the old one would say, hey, we have a couple options. And one of the options is we can increase the buyer's agent's commission to incentivize the buyer's agents to show your property. Well, 2.5, 3%, that's pretty incentivized. So here's the point. It does not matter what you pay a buyer's agent's commission. What is the reason a home expires?
It's overpriced.
Price. That's it. That's it. It's not the buyer's agent's commission because these buyer's agent's commissions are good. 2.5, 3. I mean, hardly any of them. I think, I mean, again, the 300s, again, that's a certain building. But I mean, outside of those, I mean, I don't, I think there was one, yeah, this one that was actually at 1.5. Everything else is in the twos, 2.5s. I mean, it has nothing to do with buyer's agent's commission. Nothing. It has everything to do with the price. So when you're looking for, when you're talking the price of reduction script, keep saying price objection, the price reduction script, don't even bother buyer's agent's commission because you're going to waste your time. It's price. Well, what about condition of the property? No, it's price. If the condition of the property is not very good, it just means you have to reduce the price because somebody will buy every piece of crap property that's out there. Okay. Well, it expired because the property's a dump. Somebody will buy it. It's not priced correctly. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's price. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. Good stuff. So a couple things I just wanted to show you there in terms of, yeah. Now here's something else that's really interesting. Right. If I go here to days on market, right, this stat right here. Now I could filter by that. Well, sure, what the hell. Okay, so some of these are, so a lot of these are zeros and whatnot. But if you filter by days on market, so here's my point. If I filter by days on market, why would you waste your time calling this expired? It's been on the market for 7,311 days. That's like 20 years. I mean, it's, I don't know what's going on there. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, 20 years. Well, why even waste your time? Why waste 821 days, 730, 726? I mean, there's no reason to call these people.
There's no motivation on the seller.
None, obviously. So my point is for those of you that call expireds, I would look at the days on market before you say, hey, you know what? This one's let's I'm just using this one as an example, right? This is in Monrovia. If you say, hey, you know, my coach says, or my plan is I'm gonna go door knock expireds in my area. Before you go door knock this house, look at the days on market. Save the gas, save your time, save your energy. These expired tiers, 600 days, 500 days. There's only 365 days in a year. Okay. And if you look at these price points, it's not like this one right here, $12 million. Yes, there are some properties that are $12 million that take longer to sell. Okay. But 300,000, 500, 200, 1.1. I mean, these are not super high price homes. So if you're going to work on expireds, take a look at the days on market before you call them, before you door knock them, because there's just no reason to go after an expired that's been on the market that was listed for $500,000 and was listed on the market for 365 days. I mean, it's 500 grand in Southern California. I understand that certain areas are different, but look at the days on market before you go do any of that time with the expires. Okay. I think all of you are wonderful agents, but you're not that good. And that's not a shot at you. You could get any agent in the world. Pick your favorite agent. They're not going to go door knocking expired that's been on the market for 821 days and get them to, oh, you know what? You're right. That's not going to happen. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right, good stuff. So that was one of the things I wanted to show you there in terms of the MLS. All right, so now let's go to InfoSparks. So let me back up here for those of you that maybe have never been to InfoSparks before. When you log into the MLS, there's this button right here with this, at least on mine, it's orange. It might be different color on yours. But it says InfoSparks. So we're going to click on InfoSparks. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the MLS as a whole, and then we can get into if you want to send out some specific cities so we can see kind of how to market the cities. So you'll notice here, for those of you that have never been on InfoSparks, I would recommend you come in here and dabble around a little bit. I mean, everyone should do that, but if you've never been in here, come see how this works. All these sections in the blue, these are different stats that you can look up, and the graph shows the trends. So here's what I want to look at first. A couple stats I think are important. New listings. New listings. New listings are exactly that. These are the new listings that hit the market in January. Not now active listings. You notice active listings are all the listings. So these are listings that could have been originated in December, November, but they were active at the end of January. New listings are just the amount of new properties that got listed. Okay. Now, I want to kind of focus on that because that's what's real. Okay. I want to focus on the now just to see where the market's actually headed. So, new listings. So, I go over here to the right. I see this number. Everyone see this highlighted number, 19,417. Everybody with me? If you're not with me, unmute yourself because I can't see all the faces because I'm sharing my screen. Okay, 19,417. So in our MLS in January, there were 19,417 new listings. Now, next to that, you see this number 10.8%. Everybody with me? Okay. That number represents how does that compare to January from the previous year? So in this case, it'd be January 2024 versus January 2023. This says plus 10.8%, which means January 2024, the number of new listings was 10.8% higher compared to January 2023. Is everybody with me on that? So the amount of listing activity so far this year has increased. We're up. There are more people looking to sell their homes. Yay! Hooray for real estate. Okay. Okay. So listing activity is up. That's a plus. And this graph now, this graph kind of shows, right? You can kind of follow along the cursor if you want to go back and see how it compares to previous months. Okay. Just going to see where we were at previously. All right. So some good things going on there, which is nice. Okay, so now let's go to closed sales. So closed sales is that it's the amount of closings. So January 2024, okay, we had 11,203 total closings. And just so I know somebody's paying attention, was that up or down compared to January 2023?
Up.
Up 5.7%. Thank you. So closings were up. Now, here's why that's important. Okay, even because now closings were previous pendings. Okay, so these are not deals that went pending in January, they were previous pendings. But what I find interesting on that is it shows that there's less escrows falling out. Okay, because there weren't as many listings, but there weren't as many pendings the previous months, but closings still went up. So less escrows are falling out, deals are finally closing, things are getting done. So closings were up 5.7%. So we got new listings, number of people listing, selling. The amount of deals closing is increasing year over year. So January so far off to a pretty good start. Okay. Days on market. Now, when you go to days on market, you see median and average. You could use whatever you want. I always go with average because I think everyone has an understanding of what the word average means. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'll bet if I went around the room and asked what median was, there would be a few people that wouldn't know exactly the definition of median. Again, it's not a shot at anybody. it's not a word that we use very often. So I always just tend to use average, but you could use whatever you want. Now, some of you will use the stat that makes you look better. That's fine too. I don't like the average stats. Let's go with median. So I'm going to go with average. So average days on market in January, 39. Now you'll notice here though that the average days on market is increasing, right? Everybody see from the previous months? I mean, June, July, August, September, November, days on market is going up. It's at 39. But look how it compares to January of last year. It's down 15.2%. So even though the trend is going up, it's still lower compared to where it was January of last year by 15%. Decent percentage. So homes were still selling faster January of this year compared to January of last year. All right. Now I'm also going to go over here, percentage of original price. So percentage of original price, that means how are homes selling compared to the listing price? Again, I'm going to use average. So what percentage were homes selling for compared to the list price in January? Who can see that number? What was the January number for percentage of the original list price? Is
98%, right?
Thank you, Valerie. 98.3%. Okay. So here's what that means. 100% means it's sold at list price. Anything above 100 is above list price. Anything below 100 is below list price. So 98.3 is 1.7% below 100, meaning on average, the average home sold for 1.7% below list price in January. Okay, everybody with me on that? Average home in January sold for 1.7% below list price. Now, again, that doesn't sound great, but if you compare it to January 2023, that's 2.8% higher, which means the offers we got January 2024 were closer to list price than in January 2023, again, showing a little bit more strength in the marketplace. All right, and then the last stat I want to show you, and then we'll kind of get into some more detailed stuff here, is price per square foot. I always tend to like price per square foot because I think it's a little bit more of kind of a easier number to understand from a grand scale of things. Because if you go to sales price, right? Like sales price, the average sales price is 1,029,000. Well, it's hard to tell people in I don't know, Beaumont. Yeah, well, the average sales price in our MLS is up to 1,029,000. They're like, dude, that's our city. Like it's hard to kind of have that conversation. So I steer a little bit away from sales price because it's a little bit tougher in certain areas. Price per square foot it's a smaller number, so it seems a little bit more reasonable to a lot of people than the $1 million number. Anyways, you'll notice the price per square foot, the main thing I'm looking at, was it up or down, was up 6.5%. So the average price per square foot in our area was up 6.5% compared to January. Okay, so now let's look at this as a whole from a real estate agent perspective, and then we'll look at this from a client perspective. So from a real estate agent perspective, new listings are up. There are more listings hitting the marketplace. Closed sales are up. So listings are getting into escrow and closing faster. Sales are up. Days on market down 15%. So again, selling faster. Percentage of original price. It's below list price, but it's up 2.8% compared to this time last year. So homes are selling closer to list price compared to January last year. And price per square foot is up 6.5%. So prices are up essentially. So I talked about this at the Connect last week, but I don't know. It seems like a pretty good market to be a real estate agent in. Now I understand compared to years. See, here's the problem. Here's what I don't want you to focus on. Well, yeah, but that's compared to 2023, but what's it like compared to 2021 and 2020 and how many listings were on the market back then? You keep focusing on what was, you're never going to win. Okay?
Hello?
Yeah, yes, I am well aware that in 2019 there were more listings on the market than there were today. However, there were also more buyers and more real estate agents. And you have to remember, I was also coaching in 2019. And you want to know what one of the biggest complaints real estate agents had about working with buyers?
They couldn't get their offer accepted?
Couldn't get their offer accepted. But what was the biggest, what do you think the biggest problem was?
Low
Biggest
inventory.
low inventory. So for people who say, "Oh, the inventory's so low," God, in 2019 you were complaining about low inventory because there were equal amount of buyers and way more agents. So there was low inventory complaint in 2019. So you can't keep focusing on the low inventory. What you got to focus on is the fact that there are more people looking to sell. Listings are up. Prices are up. Homes are selling faster. So now look at it from an agent perspective. Prices are up. When prices are up, what do we make?
More money.
More money. Listings are up. So I get more opportunity. Right now, I have more opportunities to find a deal, and prices are up. So it means I can make more money, and the days on market are down, which means I can make more money in less time. I don't know. I think now's a great time to be aggressive. But you have to get past that mindset of, oh, it's not like it was a couple years ago or 4 years or 5 years ago. Yeah, I understand. It's really freaking hard. It's really hard. I'm not discounting that. But but what these stats are showing, it's not me. These are stats showing you that there's a lot of opportunity out there right now. And I don't know if you all know this, but I travel a lot. And it's really hard to get people to go to the office. So you don't have a lot of competition right now. I think right now is a great opportunity to be really aggressive based on these market stats. So just my observations. So now let's talk about this from a client perspective, and then we'll get into some specific cities. So let's talk about this from a client perspective. If I'm a seller, is this good news? Pretty good news, right? Because I'm not getting this news when I go online. What I get online is that the market's slow. Sales are down. Now, if I'm a potential seller, I see sales are down. I'm thinking, oh, there's no buyers, and I can maybe factor that into the interest rates. But now I can tell, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, homes are selling for 6% more money in 15% less time. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. So I would let my sellers know that. Now, from a buyer's perspective, is this good or bad?
It's not great.
Yeah. Trick question. It's normal.
I guess, Robert, it really depends on the motivation of the buyer.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I always tell this to the buyers, if based on the payment that you're going to get and based on the income that you have and you're able to pay the mortgage, does it really matter if the interest rates are up or down or the price are up?
Yeah, that's true. It's a great point. Yeah. It's all about motivation. All about motivation.
Yeah.
And Tessa's right. It's a great line. So think about this from the buyer's perspective. Here's the conversation we need to have with the buyers. prices are up 6% and days on market are down 15%. And that's with interest rates the highest they've been in 20 years. Like, you're waiting for rates to go down. Do you have any idea how difficult it's going to be for you to get a house? I mean, prices are up 6%. Days on market down 15% with rates as high. Oh, we're waiting for rates to go down. Okay. Well, what do you think that's going to do to prices? What do you think that's going to do to days on market? Do you want the house? Yes, go buy it now. Because at least you have a better chance right now to get the house. The ultimate goal of a buyer should be to get the house. If the buyer's motivation is anything other than, I really want to get the house, don't work with that buyer. That should be their only motivation. I want to get the house. Okay. Well, I mean, prices are up, days on market are down. Let's go. Okay. So have those conversations with your buyers, but show them this because again, what they read in the news is that sales are down. Well, it means prices must be down. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, no. So here's what I would recommend maybe some of you doing is either taking a screen, not now, okay, because then they're going to see all my, shared screen and faces on there, but go on there yourself and either take a picture of it with your phone or do a print screen on your computer, or you can do this right here, print share right here in the middle, print share. And I would get these graphs out to my clients to show them what's going on because this is not internal information. This is not personal information. This is straight from the MLS. I think this could maybe help some of them understand
Robert,
what's really going on in the market. Yeah.
out of curiosity, can you just click on the single family? Okay.
So what Bianca is doing there is you can go through all these different things here and filter by type of property, size, price, things like that to get the stat. So single family, for example, because I just do, for the sake of this class, I just do everything all. But what Bianca was saying, if you just go to single family, it's actually up 6.7%. So about pretty similar. Okay, so good stuff there. So this is questions on anything we've gone over so far. All right, very good. So a lot of positive things to show there in terms of what's going on in the marketplace. All right, one more thing I wanted to show, and then we'll get to some cities. You can also compare yourself to other agents on here. So if you're going on a listing presentation, there's a question in the prequel, and it's question number 2. Does anybody know question number 2 in the prequel?
You plan on interviewing any other agents for the job of selling
Yay!
your
Do you
house?
plan on interviewing any other agents for the job of selling your home? There you go. Okay. We should ask that question for a variety of reasons. If they say yes, what I would do is ask them, who? Could be very helpful. Because then you can do a report card on how you compared to the other agent. So I do this for Yvette a lot, but I'm going to show you the one we did the other day because I told her that if the person lists with the other agent, they should just be sent to a rental board. Let me show you why I said that. Okay. So they were interviewing 3 agents. Okay, now here's the deal. This is going to get a little complicated for a second. Over here, it says line 5 years monthly. Line 5 years monthly. When you're comparing yourself to other agents, you have to change these 3 boxes. Okay. You have to change this from line to bar. Change this from 3 years to 1 year. Change this from monthly to rolling 12 months. So essentially, this shows how you would compare over the last 12 months against these agents. So now I went for Yvette, and she was going up against these agents. So average days on market. So Yvette's average days on market was 15. This guy's days on market's 245, and this one's 156. So, so I told Yvette, I said, well, here's print this screen, number one, and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's my days on market versus theirs. And then if you went to this percentage of original price, Yvette's average listings in the last 12 months sold for 0.7% above list price. This person was 16.7% below list price. This one was 2.7% below list price. So essentially, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to get you, I mean, this, Mr. and Seller, if you list with Gregory Dixon, you have issues, okay? Because his average days on market's 245 and for 16% below list price. Stop it. So let's just go to Sherman. I'm going to get you 3% more money, and I'm going to do that in 1/10 of the time, legitimately 1/10 of the time, from 156 to 15. So she prints out these two flyers, these two pages, puts them in her listing presentation, and boom, listing taken. So you can use this to compare yourself against other agents that you can show to a seller. Now, you can also do like close size. The problem with InfoSparks on the agent close size is it doesn't show all of them. I don't know why. Okay. Because like, for example, it still benefits Yvette because it shows 22, but Yvette did more than that. But even then you could say, and I did 22 transactions. This guy did 1, this guy did 3. Like there's ridiculous for them to list with any of the other agents. So you could do kind of an agent report card if you can find out who the other agent they're going to work with, and you can look at days on market, percentage of original price, close size, things like that. And then bring that to a seller. I mean, you can do it with a buyer too. But, so cool stuff. I would recommend everybody do that. All right, good. Okay, so let's go back to this and let's look up a couple areas.
Hey, Robert,
Yeah.
Robert, no, I just want you to explain when an agent does not have the numbers that the other agent has, if they can use the company, how do they compare there with the InfoStar?
Yeah, it's the problem. We've always run into that problem, Michael, and I really don't have a great solution to that because when you what we used to say is, oh, just look up the company numbers, but the problem is we belong to so many boards that you can't just type in Century 21 Masters and get all of our stuff. What I might have to do is I might just be able to pull the company numbers, and then you wouldn't be able to show a graph because it wouldn't be on InfoSparks, but I can at least get you the company numbers so you could do like a comparison. But yeah, that's the difficulty. Like, let me show you. So if I type in Century 21 Masters, all of these pop up because we belong to so many boards. So if you were going to look up the company numbers, it's like impossible to do. So I'd have to, so we couldn't do that in InfoSparks, but I could put together the numbers, and then you could just do a comparison of our company numbers versus their numbers and just do it on like a separate sheet. You could do something like that. All right, good. Okay, so let's do a couple cities
you.
real quick. So I saw Viviana wanted to do Hemet. So let's look at Hemet. Where are we at with the very smart. All right, so let's see how Hemet compares to other things. So Hemet, new listings, 152, down 4%. So actually the number of listings in Hemet is down a little bit compared to January of last year. Closed sales 103, so down 4.6%. So Hemet's slightly down compared to January of last year. But the days on market are down, so homes are selling faster, down 13.5%. And look at this percentage of original price, up 3.3% compared to last year. So if I'm working in Hemet, there's not as many new listings, but it's still, but that's more of an advantage because then we could go to these sellers and say, look at, you know, the average home is selling for 3.3% higher compared to this time last year. The days on market's down 13.5%. I mean, this is look at this price per square foot up 15%. That's a big number, up 15% compared to this time last year. So, I mean, if I'm thinking about selling in Hemet, even though the listings are down by 4%, I'd get this information out to all my seller leads in Hemet or just all my database in Hemet. Price per square foot up 15%, days on market down, percentage of original price up. Man, I would get this is great stuff to get out to a Hemet client base. And if you're buying, better get on the train. I mean, highest interest rates in 20 years and the price per square foot still up 15% compared to this time last year. So Hemet making some good moves. All right, we'll do a couple more and then we'll wrap up here. Give me another city.
Eastville,
Eastvale. What's going on in the city of Eastvale? All right, so let's look up new listings. So Eastvale listings are down 23.8%. So certainly taking a hit in terms of the new listings on the market. Closed sales are even though. So homes are still moving. So there's less new listings, but sales are still even, which means days on market is probably down a lot. It is 55%. So days on market is down 55% compared to this time last year. That is a lot. I mean, that's half the time. Percentage of original price up 5.9% compared to this time last year. So homes are very strong in terms of how they're going compared to the list price. And look at this price per square foot, 8.3. So Eastvale is kind of the same thing as Hemet, although the listings are down worse. But if I would get this information out to a seller. Listings are down 23%. So there's not a lot of people putting their home on the market. Is that just because everybody's staying there, or is it because they just don't have the right information? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I would get this out. I would make a marketing piece. I'd get with our marketing team to put together a marketing piece. Days on market down 55%. Price per square foot up 8.3%. I'd get that out. I mean, it's a great opportunity to sell your house if you're in Eastvale. But if you're a buyer in Eastvale, hey, prices are up 8.3%, days on market down, and listings are down 23%. So there's no reason for you to wait for inventory, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. The listings are down. Okay, there's not as many people selling. So if you want to buy in Eastvale, don't wait for a new batch of inventory because the listings are down. Prices are up. You want to buy there, you got to get aggressive and just buy what's there. All right, let's do one more.
Do Chino Hills, Robert.
Chino Hills. You got it. All right, what's going on in Chino Hills? Let's look. So new listings, Chino Hills up 20% compared to January last year. So Chino Hills seeing an influx of listings. So that's cool. More people putting their property on the market. Closed sales up 16.3%. So listings are up, sales are up in Chino Hills. That's nice. Days on market down 34%. So homes are selling for quite a bit faster. Percentage of original price up 2.6%. So, I mean, the average home sold for 1.9% below list price, but That's 2.6% higher compared to this time last year. So stronger in terms of that. Oh, one other thing I don't think I mentioned on this where this helps out with a buyer. If the average home sold for 1.9% below list price, it kind of gives you a guideline for buyers on their negotiating power. So like if I want to buy in Chino Hills, I'm saying, well, I want to go 10% below list price. It's like, let's start at 2.5 and negotiate from there because the average is 1.9. Okay. Price per square foot up 4.8%. So Chino Hills, powerful market right now. More people listing their homes. Sales are up. Days on market are down. Prices are up. So strong opportunity there for Chino Hills to go after some business. Great prospecting area, Chino Hills right now. But here's the thing, okay? You got to get this information out to people. You got to get this information out to people. And whether that's getting on the phone and sharing these stats, whether, again, like I said, getting a screenshot and texting it to people, getting with our marketing team to come up with a flyer or social media post, something. You got to get this information out to people. This is your opportunity to be a ray of hope. And I'm not talking about Chino Hills. Every city we've gone to has been a lot of positive. This is your chance to be the ray of hope in real estate. Because everything they read is negative. Everything they hear is negative. Everything's bad. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm so glad I got you at home. That's some really exciting news about your market in Chino Hills. Well, what do you mean? Well, I don't know if you know this, but boom, boom, boom. I'm so excited. Talk to you about the real estate market in Hemet. Well, what's exciting about the real estate market in Hemet? Oh, so glad you asked. Right? Be that ray of sunshine. All right, let's do one more, and then I promise that's it. One more city.
Could we do West Covina,
West Covina, you got it.
please? Thank you.
A please and a thank you. Wow, what room am I in? So polite. I'm just kidding. You're all polite. Maybe not all of you. That's a different story. New listings in West Covina. All right, so West Covina is down 26.5. All right, so 26.5%. So taking a hit for sure in total people listing their property. Those sales down 15%. So you have less listings in West Covina, less sales in West Covina. Let's go to days on market. But days on market's down 18.6%. Okay. So home selling faster, percentage of original price up 1.5%. So pretty close to January of last year in terms of how they're selling compared to the list price, but still up and 99.3. So you're at 0.7% below list price. Pretty strong. Price per square foot up 6.4%. So again, this goes back to, I think it was Hemet was kind of an Eastville, kind of the same thing, right? Is it the number of listings is down 26%. So is it that nobody's moving in West Covina, or is it just that they don't have the right information? I don't know the answer, but I want to find out, because if I'm thinking about selling, gosh, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I don't know if you know this, but homes are selling for 18.6% faster. Prices are up 6.4%. Okay. Do you know that was going on? I had no idea. Yeah. So it's a great market for people looking to sell their house. Who do you know that might be looking to cash out? So I don't know. I would at least be curious in an area like West Covina. Are the listings down 26% because there's just nobody listing there? Could be. You could tell them that prices are up 50%. Maybe they're not going to list, but I don't know. Seems like there's a lot of positive areas, positive things going on there. So I would do that. But I would also say same thing with my buyers. If you're looking to buy, again, prices are up 6.4%, and that's with rates being the highest they've been in 20 years. So, I want to wait for rates to go down. I don't know why you want to do that. All you're going to do is now, if you wait for rates to go down, you're going to have more competition, which means you might not get the house, which is supposed to be your ultimate goal. And because you're going to have to compete, you're going to have to go higher on price, which is going to offset the lower interest rate. So you've sailed there. And you might not, because you're competing, you're probably not going to get the terms that you want either. You're probably gonna have to waive contingencies and a variety of other things. So um, I don't know.
I
All
have
right, what?
I have a question, Robert.
Yeah,
Is it possible for you to share one example of how to share with the potential, client who may want to list their?
sure. So what you could do is go here and take your phone and then just take a picture of it and text it. So that's one option.
Okay.
Or what you could do is on your computer, there should be a button that says print screen. So you print this screen and it'll print the actual computer screen. Email that to the marketing department or fill out a marketing request form and put that image in there and say, hey, I want to create a marketing piece with this graph. So that's two options. Or on this page, right here, kind of in the middle, right middle, it says print and share. You can click print and it'll bring up the option to print it. Or you can send it via social media and stuff like that if you click on the share button. So those are the three different ways that you can, I mean, I'm sure there's more, but those are the three ways that I would get it out.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, well, hopefully this is helpful. But either way, get in. I mean, these are great stats. So even if you don't want to send them to the client, these are great stats to know for yourself. So you know what's going on in the market. You sound more knowledgeable. Imagine now you're in an elevator and someone says, "Hey, how's the market doing?" Instead of saying, "Oh, the market's hot," which is lame, by the way. Or, oh, the market's great. Buyer's market, seller's market, like vague terms that mean nothing, empty words. Is you could say, well, how's the market? Well, actually, for market's pretty strong. I mean, prices are up 6% compared to this time last year, and homes are selling, about 15% faster. So pretty strong market out there. Now they're looking at me going, wow, shared some actual valuable information. So if nothing else, you have that for you. All right, everybody, that's all I got. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, feel free to let me know. Other than that, let's go out there, have a great, great day. Cindy's got a class at 3:30, which is DRE, fictitious business name and team name. Whether you have a team or not, I would recommend you go to this because this is one of every year there seems to be they seem to pick the DRE and the MLS seem to pick a certain target. Last year was marketing, right? Flyers and things along those lines. This year so far, they seem to be picking on how you operate when you're doing business. Now that could be as a team or as an individual, how are you marketing yourself? So you might want to be there at 3:30 just so you know the rules and stuff like that. All right, everybody, good stuff. I don't know who's got open mic right now. Tim G, baby. Glad you came to work today, sir.